Okay, welcome everyone to the 600 Pounds Down podcast. We are live. This has been a little bit since we've been live, George. You had a great interview last time with our friend Matthew Gay. And that Fit Church United, let's go. That was a good episode. So if you missed it, y'all, you need to go back and revisit the 600 Pounds Down replay found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And by the way, if you have not subscribed, you need to go on right now, or we will call that right meow. And you would go on and go ahead and subscribe to the Apple Podcast, Spotify, and also YouTube. So you can get all the updates. And please share it and rate it A5 because we appreciate the fives and the reviews so we can start reaching more people with this podcast so it can change some more lives. Coach George, we were talking a little bit ago about that beautiful pump you had from that workout you were doing. Tell us more about your physique.
So, I think I've retained Greek god stat. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. That's a joke. That
Okay.
was a joke, internet. I promise. I have deep-seated physical depression. Okay, but no, but it's been a little difficult to get to the gym lately. Life is very busy. Getting a little bit more plugged in at my church, which is something that I wanted to do. So that's taking up some time. Never want to miss time with my kids. So, you know, if I'm with the kids, I don't do the gym. And a lot of just, I don't know, man. It kind of feels like life is very full right now, but not wanting to neglect the workouts. So something that I did was I took my full body gym workout, or at least my I have a full body ABC because I'm very creative.
Because you're in kindergarten.
Yeah, because I'm a kindergartner. Yes. I can count by 5s, 10s, 25s, and 45s.
Oh, man.
But I took a full body workout and I converted it into body weight exercises. Now, it's been a while since I've done like a body weight circuit before. So it's a little bit different than weight training. See, with a body weight circuit, you want to try to really emphasize pauses, slow eccentric, which is coming back up, and trying to really make those muscles work for you. So I did that the other night. I did a full body weight exercise. I counted for repetitions. I counted for pauses, rest times, just to make sure that I'm training my body effectively. Justin,
tell me more about this pain that you're going to be. You're a wuss. This guy's a wuss, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, wuss alert, wuss alert, wuss alert.
So I am a grade A baby when it comes to legs. I really am. Dude, if it's chest day, we are going to throw a party for chest day, but we don't tell anyone it's leg day because then I'm held accountable for it. But I did body weight squats, my guy. Body weight squats, 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, and then 1 second back up. 4 sets of those, 12 to 15. And I got like booty to the floor, man. We're all about that full range of motion. I still remember Adam Pulio, one of our guests, full range of motion. Yep. If Adam ever catches this, Adam, I got you. But and then short rest times, minute to a minute and a half max. Like I could still feel the burn. By the 4th set, I had this unbelievable burn in my legs. And for those of you who lift, there is something that is called the pump. If you have never seen Pumping Iron, the 1970s bodybuilding documentary, please go watch it. It's free on YouTube with ads. Totally worth your time.
Shameless plug.
I still remember Arnold Schwarzenegger's quote on that video where he says, if you are under 200 pounds, you are small. So that is why I'm at least 200 pounds all the time. Okay. But there's something that's called the pump. And when you start working out and you really start working a certain muscle, all of that blood is going to rush into that muscle, and it really makes the muscle very full. And it can also make the muscle feel very tight right underneath your skin, almost like it's about a balloon about ready to pop, but hence, the pump, because your muscles get filled up with blood. I don't remember the last time my legs got that kind of a pump. Now I can squat over 400 pounds for 8 reps, 4 sets, but like that's more of a strength movement. I know I'm a weakling, but that's more of a strength movement. What I was doing with the body weight, I was really going for what's called hypertrophy, which is muscle breakdown for maximum muscle growth. And Jay, like my whole body, man, I didn't feel like sometimes I feel after a workout where I just kind of feel like I got crushed by a truck. But what I was very minimally sore. I can never say that word correctly. And minimally sore. I think I got it. I'm not going to try again.
Beautiful.
But my muscles were very full. So if you are someone who is like, I can't get to the gym, I can't really commit to a gym membership or whatnot, let me tell you this. If you do body weight exercises correctly, you can get very similar results for sure. 100%.
I love that. No. And that kind of segues us into the potential of, well, this spring, there's some surprises coming out. I don't know.
Ooh.
Have you heard? I mean,
I think, we're actually, is 600 pounds down coming out with like a super awesome new thing in spring of 2025?
I heard about it. I mean, I wanted to talk about that actually. I have heard about that. It's their new program that they're putting together that, well, I hear it's gonna be really awesome and really about like gaining life and burning fat or burning fat and gaining life, and really just targeting like spiritual transformation, physical transformation, and mental transformation. George, this hits people with addiction. This hits people who cannot make it to a gym, and it hits people who may have this love for food. They can learn how to love food a new way. And we just kind of go through some scientific strategies to help people. It's going to be really spectacular. And the best part, they are going to get coached by, two of the best coaches on the planet and in the world. I mean, I don't know about you, but myself. But anyway, so just kidding.
He's not kidding.
Oh no, I'm kidding. George is a really good coach. George is good. He's very encouraging, motivating, and he knows his stuff about resistance training, especially. That's your forte. So it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited for that. Totally excited for that.
Look, man, if you can get to a day where you only think about food and its regular ramifications, and you can actually start enjoying the rest of your life, that's a great day.
Yeah. This program, I mean, I've had it in the works for a while, and George and I are kind of tweaking it together, but it's been implemented on other people in the past. And guess what? We've seen people lose up to 100 pounds and then some by strategies that we put together. So it's going to be fantastic. So we're stoked about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I love taking people across the finish line, man. I really do.
And here's the deal too. Like, you're not coming, this plan is not coming from two guys who have been fit all their life and don't know what it feels like to be overweight and having to lose the weight, to be hungry, to have pain. We get it, guys. We get it. You're going to have that sympathy. I'm telling you right now. But you also are looking at two guys who did it and who believe you can do it too. Yeah,
this is good. It's good. So speaking of things, that we're going to improve somebody's lifestyle with, tonight's episode is going to be fantastic, man. We're going to jump into something we haven't really got so deep before with a particular topic. But as we were searching for a new topic that we could talk about that really impact people's lives and really encourage them and give them some moments to equip them with for health, we thought, hey, cholesterol, because we're talking about eating whole foods. Well, whole foods, that contains cholesterol, right? And my doctor said, don't you touch cholesterol. Don't you do that. Don't you eat eggs. Don't you, we hear that. And in fact, when I coach people right now, they talk about how they're afraid to eat eggs, how they're afraid to eat meat. They're vegan for that particular reason, or vegetarian. So they eat less animal product, but eggs are okay most of the time. But yeah, it's funny how we have this fear when it comes down to consuming dietary fats, saturated fats, and things like that. So tonight we are going to unload some science. We are going to share some strategies, and we're going to bring to light the truth, dun, 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 about cholesterol. So I don't know about you, man. I'm ready to hear this. I like reading. I'm totally a geek on this stuff, but I'm ready to hear this. We actually put together a slideshow we're going to be showing. If you're watching this on YouTube or watching it live right now on Facebook or YouTube, definitely follow along with the strategies we're going to be talking about tonight on the slideshow, because we're going to have some fun with that, and it'll kind of give you a visualization of what we're talking about tonight. If you're listening to it on the replay on Apple and on Spotify, totally okay. You're just missing out on the slideshow, but go back and watch it on YouTube. It's going to be okay. George, you have anything else to say before we start?
Well, here at 600 Pounds Down, we crush diet dogma, we reach out with truth and journey toward real health. And tonight, it's about cholesterol.
All right. We'll see you in a minute here on the 600 Pound Down podcast. All right, George, we're here. It's going to be fun.
You know, I suddenly have a very big craving for a pound of bacon.
True story. I had a boss one time who was doing the keto diet, and he bought. I worked at Verizon, and he was doing a keto diet. And he was next door was a store that sold bacon, so he went over to the store and he ended up purchasing a pound of bacon. Guess what he did? Goes back, makes the whole thing in the microwave. There we go. We're eating the whole thing, and it's like, all right. I'm like, dude, that's terrible. Like, we're eating, and you should see the grease, dude, just like poured off of it. And there's no paper towel here. It's simply on the plate, double plated, if you will, triple plated with all the grease. But he was just like eating it down. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like, what are you doing? But, it actually might not be as bad as we think. Now, I don't think bacon's the most cleanest meat in the world. And obviously it got some nitrates and things like that. That might be good for you. But it's funny because is it really we're going to talk about this tonight. What's worse? Is it the bacon or is it the white toast?
Ooh, now you're pushing buttons. Now you're pushing buttons.
We're gonna have fun, or is it the I don't know, some of those cereals out there that honey bunches of oats, or
but it's whole grain, Jay.
Oh, dude,
it's whole grain.
But there's something else in there, man, that's causing some issues on people, and we're gonna talk about that tonight. So, it's okay to have bacon, but we're gonna talk about how you should eat your bacon, things like that, in this episode tonight. But welcome everyone to the 600 Pound Down podcast. We are going to be talking about the truth and nothing but the truth about cholesterol tonight. So I'm really, really excited. Cholesterol, friends, it's often just portrayed as this villain, but the truth is it's one of those things that's essential for life. I mean, it's a waxy substance really that's found. Guess what, George? It's found in every cell in the human body, which is pretty amazing, right? So is it really the bad guy? We'll find out. What makes it become the bad guy? We'll find out. So, but just know that it isn't this stuff that's found in your arterial walls or in your arteries. Okay. It's found in every cell. And so it's just important that we identify that. So we do know that it's a God-given substance that was made, but what creates this avenue that it takes to potentially lead to heart disease? What causes this stuff to happen? And we'll go over that here momentarily. But George, this is going to be fun. Cholesterol is used for a lot of other things too. And I mean, you've done some research.
Yeah. So let's just talk about what cholesterol actually is. So that way we have a working game plan on how we go forward. Right. So Justin said, cholesterol found in every cell of your body. So what it does, it actually is very good at producing hormones, vitamin D, bile acids that aid in digestion. And cholesterol actually travels through blood on proteins called lipoproteins or lipoproteins. I'm pronouncing that correctly. But what it actually does too is a normal blood lipid profile that you'll have tested will show several types of cholesterol. So you have your LDL cholesterol, but you also have your HDL cholesterol. So your LDL is your low density lipoproteins, and your HDL is your high density lipoproteins. So think of it as LDL is your bad cholesterol, but your HDL is your good cholesterol. Okay.
I like
So-
calling it high, HDL high, like welcome in. It's all good.
Yep,
Come on in.
That's right.
LDL is loser, get out of here, right? Like we don't want you. We don't want a lot of you. So like that's the rap that cholesterol has had. But yeah, it's not created equal. There are different types of it, right?
And your HDL is kind of like that. I call it the vacuum of the cell. You know, it's your cleaner upper. It helps remove excess cholesterol and brings it actually brings you back, brings it back to the liver, and it really balances you out. So it's like, hey, come on in. I'm gonna clean you up. I'm gonna send that back, and this is the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's what it does. HDL is good. You want good HDL numbers. And truthfully, guys, you know, the key here is what we're talking about tonight. I just want to paint the picture right now. We're going to find out in a little bit, and we're going to find out how it got there. But cholesterol is not the enemy. Okay. It's not the enemy. Again, God created cholesterol. He created the body the way it is. There is there is a issue that causes cholesterol to do what we don't want it to do. And really it comes down to imbalance. It comes down to inflammation, and it comes down to oxidative stress. And those are just some of the reasons why cholesterol can potentially do something we don't want it to do and compile in places we don't want it to compile. But anyway, the lipid hypothesis, I want to talk about that, George. Ancel Keys. I mean, if you're watching the YouTube live or the Facebook live right now, the guy in the corner, I love old pictures. It makes it look fun. But he comes up with this 7-country study where he developed this lipid hypothesis, right, from different countries. And he included that these countries had a higher risk of heart disease from their serum cholesterol numbers. So, okay, let's take a poll here. How many of y'all have this potential cholesterol number going on? Also their blood pressure and diabetes risk and smoking habits. So we took these countries and kind of said, all right, we're noticing that it's because of the bad cholesterol, the LDL in the blood. It contributes to atherosclerosis, which is the hardening and narrowing of the arterial wall, the arteries, right? And that leads to what? Heart disease and stroke. So he found that during this study, this is what his findings were. This is what he communicated, that the 7 countries studied, those who consumed the average cholesterol and saturated fat were at greater risk of heart disease than those who consumed lower fat and cholesterol in their diet, such as Japan and Greece at the time. So interestingly enough, he went around, did some investigating and come up with this hypothesis. Now we're going to learn a little bit more. I'm going to pick this apart a little bit moving forward. But George, I feel like, I mean, this is his findings here. This can change the game, and it did, right? It did.
It did.
It's a lot of
it did. So his findings, the dietary changes, he actually suggested more polyunsaturated fats. So what would be polyunsaturated fats? Here's what, okay, if you're familiar with any of the dietary landscape today, what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your ever-loving mind. So
ever-loving mind?
Ever-loving mind. Okay. So he found that he wanted to suggest more polyunsaturated fats. That is corn oil. That is safflower oil. That is soybean oil. That is flaxseed oil. And less saturated in cholesterol consumption would therefore minimize heart disease risks. So he was a strong advocate for what was called the Mediterranean type diet. That's really associated with a lot of lower risk and heart disease issues. Now, the reason why he was such a big Mediterranean diet fan, well, Greece, Italy, Spain, those were some of the countries that he went and visited. And so that would be more fish, more olive oil, less animal protein, meaning less red meat in particular. And he wants more whole grains, more fruits, more veggies. Are we familiar with the food pyramid? Wonder where that came from.
Yeah. And then you notice, George, in the government recommendations that come out after these studies were completed, people really bought into it, right? Now we're going a little further. We're accepting it kind of not just as a theory anymore, a hypothesis, but we're taking it as a fact now because it has to be real, because he found these studies to be relevant to the situation at hand. And, people are dying. And it's true. And just to give this guy, I don't know him from Adam, man. I don't know anything really about Ancel Keys other than the hypothesis that he's come up with here. But, you know, I can only imagine, like, all right, there's people dying of heart disease. There's people not healthy. We need to figure something out. And sometimes it just makes sense that let's try to cherry pick one thing. Just to, I mean, there's a common ground here, right? There's common ground here. So let's cherry pick that. And let's make sure we just kind of, you know, make that the thing. But, you know, it was adopted into our normal, you know, American Heart Association, our food guidelines, or things like that in the government, right? So the American Heart Association actually has advised that individuals should have no more than 300 milligrams of cholesterol per day. And
yep, I'm in MyFitnessPal right. Sorry, go ahead.
You're high risk. Yeah, 200 if you're a high risk for heart disease. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I'm in MyFitnessPal right now, the food tracking app. Cholesterol, my limit is 300 milligrams. It's still in there. That cholesterol is still in the app. That level is still in this app. 2025.
Are you past 300 today?
Bro, I passed 300 at freaking dinner. Like, read the note. Ate 1 pound of red meat.
We don't recommend gorging yourself on meat. George just is doing this really thing right now, but it's good. No, we're going to talk more about this, but guys, don't be afraid of that. And the other thing is this: it's also advised. So not only are we demonizing cholesterol from this, from what Ancel Keys has studied and found at this time, but it's also saturated fat, animal fat, if you will. And an intake should be no more than 6 to 7% of your daily total calorie intake. Now, you have a couple slices of cheese, you're on your way there already. Okay. So saturated fat is very easy. You have yourself a steak, you have yourself anything animal product related, cream, coconut oil, even, you're going to have some high saturated fat right there. Okay. But what's interesting, George, is we're not going to camp out on this today, but there's a variety of different molecular structures when it comes to saturated fat, and some are received better by the body than others. So if you put everything into one category, you're missing out on a deeper scientific dive to saturated fat. It's like not all of them are created equal. The molecular structure is a little different. And I find it very interesting that we never, and you know, maybe it was ahead of its time, but it's interesting today that we've done some of that research, and look it up yourselves. There's different types of saturated fats out there. Some may be more harmful than others, but the findings are showing, I'm getting ahead of myself, but right now we're saying 6 to 7% of your total daily calorie expenditure, or daily calorie intake should be from saturated fat, and probably less. But George, then what comes next? It blows my mind. And let's clear our throats on this one. If we don't come back after this, guys, you know that we got shut down by the government. But we're going to talk about statins. And there's a lot of people on statins right now. In fact, a lot of people I love are on statins right now. And for a variety of reasons, but we know, George, that statins are on the rise and still are. Do you want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah. So statins, obviously, it's a medication. Right. So once this hypothesis really took off, Big Pharma really responded with statins, which is a cholesterol lowering drug. Now, remember, cholesterol has just been blanketed bad, right? There is no good or bad cholesterol. It's all just bad. So statins work by inhibiting a certain enzyme in the liver that helps make cholesterol. Okay. Now, the name of it is HMG CoA, which is reductase. I'm probably butchering that, but basically what it is, it's an enzyme in your liver that actually helps your body make cholesterol. So when you take a statin, it literally is inhibiting natural bodily function. So here's the thing with statins, guys. When it was theorized that cholesterol was causing heart disease, statins came on the scene, and now it is a $20 billion industry because its use has skyrocketed. Because if it doesn't work, if you're not feeling good, take a pill.
Yeah. Yeah. And they prescribe it for precautionary, limits. Like, okay, so you're having an issue here, your cholesterol numbers are rising, you're past a certain age, or you're past your 40s. Okay, we're going to play a precautionary method here. We're going to go ahead and prescribe you a low dose statin, which a lot of times happens, and then eventually gets increased over time because cholesterol numbers still tend to go up in people. Now, unfortunately, when this happens, I will say I argue a little bit. I'm like, is there a possibility though that we can handle this thing without going to a drug first? Okay. So lifestyle modifications, complete education on, is this really a bad thing, is another thing I'd like to say, right? And is it, what's the risk factor here? You know, you look at your cholesterol ratios, you look at, you know, your activity level, you look at your family genetics and things like that, right? But it's, you know, statins do come with really some risk factors. And, you know, I don't think a lot of us understand the risks that come with it. I mean, George, I mean, just to name a few, I mean, you're probably got, I mean, we're going to see some here too, but the muscle damage that happens, I mean, we don't want that, because what it does is statin will deplete your CoQ10 in your body, which you need CoQ10 for energy. For muscle energy and for energy just all together in the body. It helps to help with that, help with your body functions, I should say. But it's interesting because you're supposed to take CoQ10 supplement if you're on a statin. That's something that you should be doing, just to help prohibit or prevent those things from happening. But like, yeah, I mean, liver damage, right? We see liver damage happen, can elevate your liver enzyme, or your kidneys and your liver enzymes, and you know, which shows that possibly could be damaging, because now why are these elevated, right? I mean, there could be, but what about the increased risk of diabetes?
I mean, type 2, it's high, man.
Yeah,
it's high because you're inhibiting natural body function. Yeah,
it's affecting the insulin sensitivity in the body, and so now we're going to have some issues with that. I mean, memory issues. I've seen some cognitive decline in people who are on statins, older people especially. And you could say, well, it's because of their age. No, they decline a little faster than they should have. In fact, you don't even have to decline. I believe if you keep your mind young, keep learning new things, doing your thing, you can prevent that stuff from happening for sure in your life. But you want to hit on some of the rest of them, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, you're going to hit me with, you're going to make me handle sexual dysfunction. You're such a peach. Oh, I do want to mention, since we are talking about medications and whatnot, I just want to say that we are not medical professionals. I want to say that so the audio podcast can have that on record. Please seek medical advice or your medical professional team for more answers. I want to put that out there. We are just two guys talking about big pharma and are very opinionated about it. But it also can cause sexual dysfunction. Because when you start inhibiting natural body function, you are going to start affecting other systems in your body, because all of our systems work in communion with each other. And notice how Justin was talking about how if you are taking a statin, then you also need to take a CoQ10 supplement. Now, you wouldn't have to take the CoQ10 supplement if you went on a statin in the first place. And what if you're only put on a statin as a prevention or a precautionary measure that you don't even actually need it? So you're getting put on a medication that you don't necessarily need, but because you're on a medication you don't necessarily need, it's going to deplete your CoQ10. So now you got to take a supplement. I don't know, Jay. Sounds like I'm reaching in my wallet quite a bit.
Yeah. And then what about the fact that it's not as protective? I mean, they can't promise a 100% protective element to a statin, right? Especially in women. It's been found that men can respond a little better to it, but women tend to have a lower response from a statin, lower protective response from it, which shows me that, you know, it's sometimes prescribed to women for what reason? If it's not going to bring, you know, benefit, what's the point of taking it if they're going to decline in their health? You know, always listen to your doctor. I'm not here to shut it down completely. I do think they may serve a purpose in life somewhere, some way. I have listened to doctors who are more naturalist doctors and they will go back to statins and say sometimes they will save lives. My research, George's research, and what we've done, we've seen more harm than good, but there's also been some successful stories as well. And I'm sure it has helped some people who maybe have some genetic predispositions that might have to have some form of medication to prevent any cardiovascular event from happening. But yeah, it is interesting to me. The risks are heavy. Now, George, was Ansel Keys wrong? That's the question I have, right? It's like the hypothesis, was it accurate? We kind of been expressing mostly, but what are let's talk about the arguments that come along with this. And was he wrong? And why do we think he was wrong? Well, what about the first one I want to share? What about the countries that, one of them, especially France, that he purposefully excluded from the study? And there's a reason why I say that that's important, friends. And that's because France, the French, they have a tendency of their natural dietary approach is to be high in saturated fat. Okay.
Cheese.
And lots of cheese, man. Wait, why am I saying man? Man, lots of cheese, man. Now we're like French Jamaica going on over here. But yes, a lot of saturated fat, red wine, things like that. But they have a very low risk of heart disease in that country. Yeah. Why is that? That's just an argument, right? It's like, why do we exclude something? So it sounds to me there's a little bit more going on that meets the eye, that we can say, aha, it looks like this, but let's pull the curtain back a little bit further. And now we're going to say, all right, there could be some other circumstances involved that are causing us to see these results on people. What else do we see, George?
Well, so he didn't factor in the omega-3 and omega-6 ratio of fats. Mm-hmm. Omega-3 and omega-6 do different things in the body. They're fat soluble, vitamins. And so your body, they do different things. And so he didn't really factor that in to his whole, he just lumped everything together into like one, like chimera cholesterol saturated fat monster. And he didn't really differentiate those things from each other and the different ways that they help the body. But on a more practical level too, when he, and I feel like this is a no-brainer to me, but when he went to Greece, the Greeks were practicing Lent, and during the time of Ansel Keys, one of the biggest things that they do during Lent, and still even today, if you think about it, why are fish fries so big, during Lent? Because everyone's fasting from animal foods, like they're fasting from red meat, and so this would definitely impact cholesterol numbers, man. Like you can't go to a country when they're practicing literally an active practice of eliminating animal meat and say, oh, I'm going to do a study on cholesterol. Like, imagine that. And not go to France. Right. And, but it's, and there's a couple more, and, I'll let you hit the last one, Jay.
Yeah. It's just funny because, like, the other countries, like, well, these guys had high saturated fat, high cholesterol numbers. Greece, they have lower numbers right now because, they didn't even say anything about the animal fat fasting and all the stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, the mixed bag, he did the mixed bag whole thing with saturated fat and trans fat numbers. Like he didn't differentiate between those partially hydrogenated oils, those trans fats and things like that. He kind of lumped them together with the saturated fat. And so when we see that, it's like, all right, now what's really the monster here? Is it a man-made fat, or is it the God-given fat that he created on this earth, right? And then of course, there's not enough solid evidence. That's like me saying, George, you stole my number 2 pencil because you have 5 number 2 pencils in your backpack when I was in school, whatever. It's like there's not enough evidence. Like you already had some. How do I know that one in there is not already something? And it's the same thing, right? But just kind of stretching it out there. Anyway, so was he wrong? Well, you do the math on that. And there's always going to be like on his end of the spectrum, on people who support this, they're going to have their own arguments as well. Okay. They're going to find but this is again, where I'm kind of leaning because we're finding more out as we go. And it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. It's just, there are too many gaps. Like it's not even that I think he's outright wrong. Like I don't even know where he's pulling 300 milligrams of cholesterol on the high end. I just don't know where that number is coming from. Like, is that just a number that he picked that he thought sounded good? Like, I just don't, I in my research, I couldn't find a solid basis of why 300 milligrams. Like there just wasn't one. And when you see all these black holes of just arguments that can be brought against them, they are real and legitimate and overarching arguments that really poke holes into the sinking ship that we are seeing here, in my opinion, of the Ansel Keys paradigm.
But then in steps our friend who John Yudkin, British physiologist, nutritionist. He comes up on the scene, George, and he starts, saying, hey, whoa. you leave my steak and bacon alone, bro. Like you're not going in on that. Like that is mine. Let's talk about your ice cream. Let's talk about your donuts. Let's talk about your Starbucks specialty drinks. Let's talk about all that, right? Because this is you're overstepping your boundaries here. It's not the fat that's causing this issue with heart disease and cholesterol numbers. What it is, Mr. Ansel Keys and America and those listening in. This is what Yudkin would say. It's the sugar. He says the sugar contributes to heart disease. He says refined carbohydrates cause the metabolic dysfunction. He says that fat has been wrongly demonized. And interestingly enough, there was a food industry issue going on here. And there was some
don't say
cover up, right?
I'm hearing money.
You hear it? Why don't you talk about
I hear, you know, when Scrooge jumps into like his lake of gold, that's whenever I think of the food industry, that's what I think of. I think of Scrooge McDuck jumping into his gold and swimming in it.
Yes. So we have some influence by the food industry who at the time, the cholesterol hypothesis was at the peak and it was accepted in the medical culture, the medical field, the medical industry, and was really subscribed by from a lot of people. And so there was a little bit of play involved where, they kind of been hush on sugar, probably because of sales. I don't want to say that too loudly, but probably because of some sales, probably because of some, you got your Coca-Cola going on, you got your Pepsi Cola going on, you got your ice creams, all the things, right? So let's blame fat. Let's keep the fat to be blamed. And Yudkin, it was criticized and dismissed by the medical community at that time because, well, they bought into the Ansel Keys hypothesis of fat, and it was mainstream at the time. So now it's wartime. Now it comes down to what's the demon here? What's the issue? What's causing people to die prematurely? What's causing people to have a life that's miserable when it comes to having heart disease and things like that? Well, is it fat or is it sugar? Is it fat or is it sugar? Which one is going to win out? And unfortunately, at that point in the time in history, fat won out. You see the formation of statins happen. Interestingly enough, George, the rate of heart disease still climbed, which
imagine that. So if it's still climbing, man, well, it looks like we're going to have to put people on medication. And guess what? That medication is going to cost some money.
Yes. But the good news is we're waking up.
Yes, we are.
We're waking up. And Yudkin, he'd be proud of us today. He'd be proud of us. And he would say, all right. America, you're getting it. You're finally recognizing people are waking up. And this is why we're doing this, friends. We're educating you here on 600 Pounds Down for a specific reason. And that's to help you identify, stop listening to the fear mongering, stop listening to the lies, stop listening to the old school way of doing things. Science continues to it continues to evolve. It continues to be found out. It continues to expand. And so we find today, over the course of the last 20 years, 10 years especially, that there has been new research coming up. I think pretty much every year there's more research coming out. There's still some of the old stuff out there that's trying to holler back at us and, clap back, if you will. It's like, nope, stop it. But then the new research tends to override that and just prove it wrong to me. At least I see it. And so what we know about fat today, and let's talk about fat, and we're going to kind of walk through this. Healthy fat can be part of a healthy diet. Okay. Healthy fat, part of healthy diet. Avocado, olive oil, dairy, beef tallow, ghee, etc. That's good news. That means you can have your fat and eat it too. All right. I love the turkey skin. I love the fat on good steak. Interestingly enough, George, the fat on steak, I would say grass-fed's always gonna be better. Okay, grass-fed, you can afford it. The good news with that is that has a better fat ratio, which we'll talk about later. But the fat on that is healthier for you than something on a conventional raised beef, steak and stuff like that. But it has monounsaturated fat, which is like same fat found in olive oil, which I love. So really good. But cholesterol can also be consumed. And George, we know that if we don't consume it, what's going to happen? Your liver is going to make its own cholesterol. You're going to get it one way or another.
That's one of its primary functions.
Yes. Yep. And What about the research on eggs? It seems like once a year, I see a new egg study. And one year, there's like, hey, go ahead and have an egg. Go ahead and have 1 egg a day. Have 2 eggs a day. Nope, don't touch an egg. It's as bad as cigarette smoke. Oh, nope, don't touch an egg. You're going to get turned into an egg.
I want to say just this year, the FDA came out and said eggs are good for you. Like just this year, I want to say they did that. I'm sitting here like, man, when I lost, 90 pounds in a year, I was eating like 6 eggs a day.
Yeah.
And my numbers were fantastic.
I was eating a lot of eggs. My numbers went up a little bit, but my ratio cholesterol was fine and still is today, which is awesome. But I think probably about 3 eggs a day, sometimes 4. I think the other day I had like 6, 10. No, I think I had 10 the other day. It was like,
yeah, you did.
Meals. Yeah, I'm bad. I'm fatty.
Take that, Ansel Keys.
But yeah, you definitely, your liver is going to make its own if you don't consume it. So just consume it. And studies have found, even mainstream studies are finding that cholesterol really isn't the issue anymore when it comes to food. They're more demonizing saturated fat than cholesterol anyway. Multiple eggs a day, fine. No big increased risk of heart disease. But what we do want to watch out for trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils. They should always be avoided, right? So just be careful with that stuff. A lot of those things are found in your snack goods, snack cakes, different pastries and things like that, which we shouldn't really be eating a lot of anyway. A lot of times there's no saturated fat found in like meats and things like. Now there are some naturally occurring trans fats and things like that. I should have said trans fat, but I don't know if I said saturated fats or I meant to say trans fats. But there's naturally occurring trans fats in some meat products, and those aren't man-made. Those are just natural forms. And there are some variations in the molecular structure in that as well, which is interesting versus man-made. So I wouldn't be too over concerned about that, but it's very minimal. Sometimes found in like really fatty cut of meats, you might find a trace amount of trans fats, but a lot of times they're found in like your baked goods and pastries and things. But also watch out for your seed oils. They should always be avoided as much as possible. You can have some of them, but I would just be very careful how much you consume. They contain a lot of times, if they're not shelf stable, they're heated high heat. It creates the fats then become rancid. And then of course the ratios, omega-3s, omega-6s, become imbalanced. And when they become imbalanced, that means your body receives that differently, causes inflammation in the body. And there you have it. Now we have the birth of issues spiking in the body that at one point fat was to blame on that, or cholesterol was to blame on that. But it really isn't necessarily the saturated fat and the cholesterol. It's actually the ratio of your fat intake and the rancid oils that you're consuming and the bad fats. So just saying, you're better off having a steak than having a deep fried chicken wing from a restaurant, just because they're not deep fried into seed oils that are not healthy for you, unless they're doing like beef tallow or some other things like that. But what about sugar, George? You're a little sugar guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know a lot. I've learned a lot about sugar over the course of our time here at 600 pounds down. Sugar seems to be the driving culprit. So lower your sugar intake to mostly natural sugars. That would be our suggestion to you. We would suggest honey. We would suggest maple syrup. Now, if you do want to do like natural sugar substitutes, I would say, let's go ahead and do like a stevia. Let's do a monk fruit. Those would be good. Those are readily available at your local Walmart, Wegmans, whatever. I would suggest those. But avoid those processed sugars and junk foods, guys, because those cause metabolic issues. So when you consume processed sugars, basically what that is, it's a distilled chemical that can pass the blood-brain barrier. So these sugars can pass the blood-brain barrier, and the sugar goes right into your brain, and that's what you get your sugar high. Did a episode on this on 600 pounds down. I believe it's in the 600 pounds down group. So if you haven't joined our private Facebook community group, please go ahead and join that. It's free and filled with inspiration, and there are some specific episodes that you can find in there by yours truly. Anyway, shameless plug. But
Love it.
But yes, it can pass the blood-brain barrier. It can create neural pathways in your brain. We call it I call it the metabolic highway in the brain. Your brain desires it. Your brain wants it. Your brain will make room for it because your brain loves it. It creates a dopamine high, gets you really happy, gets you really joyful. Not in the Jesus way, but in the I'm gonna eat my foot way. And it's just not a good situation because these are distilled chemicals. These are made to make you want more. These are made to make you not feel full, and these are made to make other people money. So avoid fast-acting carbohydrates. Now, if you have a choice, I would say avoid. So I would avoid your white breads, your cereals, your sugary pastries. Now, sugary pastries I would avoid first and foremost because they're sugary, not necessarily because they're pastries, but now you got the Chimera, you got the sugar carb monster. Your specialty coffees, Justin, I believe that there might be a 600 calorie Starbucks coffee floating around there somewhere.
I want to try that.
I believe it's on the secret menu, and you have to know the Kennedys in order to get it.
That is insane.
That was fake news. That was totally.
I was so excited because I was 600 pounds down. I want to take a 600 calorie Starbucks drink and go live next time with it. I was ready to do that. Thanks a lot. You ruined my night.
Dude. Oh my gosh, you want 600 calories of sugar? I couldn't even imagine that. Oh my gosh, you might turn you want. You already haven't been sleeping. Let's not make it worse.
You digress. I digress.
But this contributes to the inflammation. Inflammation, just like Justin said, is the number one cause of chronic disease. If you can limit your inflammation or eliminate your inflammation, you can eliminate or minimize a whole lot of other problems within your body. So avoid those processed sugars, guys. They are not your friends. As we have said on 600 Pounds Down before, they are the sugar monster. They don't like you. They don't love you. They want you, but you don't need them. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. So the verdict. So we see that the blood, sugar, fat, what's up here. I think they can live in harmony, though. I really do. I think there's harmony involved. I think if I were to put a little sticky note on it, I would say fat over sugar. Unless you're having natural sugars from like fruits, and I wouldn't even have a ton of fruit, but having fruits is good. That's good for you. But definitely, I think fats are definitely more satiating. Number one, and number two, definitely has a lot of benefits in themselves. And you need carbohydrates too, by the way, which
you do.
We'll have another episode on that later, but yeah, it's very important. But the verdict, the takeaways, what's the verdict? George, we're all about here at 600 Pounds Down, moderation, right? Moderation is key. Whole foods, kind of a whole foods approach. Let's go ahead and have some chicken. Let's go ahead and have some beef. Let's go ahead and have a good protein source. Let's go ahead and have some sweet potatoes, white potatoes, maybe some rice, definitely your fruits and vegetables, things like that. Your personal preference, if you want dairy or grains, some people are very sensitive to those things, but definitely could be involved in your diet. But exercising regularly, we highly encourage that. That helps process things through the body, helps regulate blood sugar levels. It helps to fight high cholesterol numbers if you have those issues, raises your HDL cholesterol, lowers your LDL cholesterol, lowers triglyceride numbers. Hydrating well. George, we're all about hydrating well here at 600 Pounds Down. We love to make sure we get enough water in our electrolytes in our body. More vegetables, more fruits, less junk food. Just keep junk food minimal. We don't need it every day. If you want like a Hershey Kiss once a day, I think you can get away with that. But, we don't want to eat a whole bag every day. We don't need it every day. Let's try to avoid creating a habit that's unhealthy. We want to break the habit. And that means we talked about a little earlier, go to natural foods like honey. Go for some honey over those things. You'll learn to love that so much more. If you need an extra sweet tooth, take an apple, a Honeycrisp apple, dip it in some honey yourself, right there in some cinnamon. Let's go. That's really sweet. And it can really eat your taste buds to register. This is okay. I can survive with this. I don't need that chocolate. Sleep well, manage stress, and eat to live. I love that statement. Eat to live, don't live to eat. I think that's just an important part there. But give us some bonuses, George.
Yeah, cholesterol is not the enemy. We need to stop thinking that way. I think we can really bog ourselves down with that. Again, this is based on, I guess, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes for the listener who has not seen the video, science. But the science has a lot of holes in it. But sugar is more of the enemy, guys. That sugar, it has that addictive quality. A lot of times people who are addicted to sugar show the same brain mapping as those addicted to hardcore drugs. The brain mapping is eerily similar, and sometimes people don't even know the difference.
Mhm.
But the ratio of high omega-6 versus low omega-3s is also to be avoided as well. So too much omega-6s can contribute to inflammation. So less soybean oils, less corn oils. Again, those things can just get rancid, and it's not good for you. So the ideal omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is really 4-to-1 or 1-to-1. So we don't want like a 10-to-1, right? 10-to-1 omega-6 omega-3 ratio. So what are some practical diet advice? Let's talk about the practical diet advice for omega-3s. Eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week. I am a big fan of salmon. I love salmon. I love salmon with a little bit of lime, some light seasoning. I put it in the air fryer, and I like that. I like it swimming. I'm not gonna lie.
It should be wild caught. Wild caught's always gonna be better than
Yes.
farm raised.
Yes, wild caught's always gonna be better. I like to have mine severely amount of pink in the middle. If it, if it's not swimming, it ain't worth eating. But
Let's go.
But olive oils, avocado oil. And actually, here's the thing, guys. If you get avocado oil, that burn temperature is 500 degrees. That's like one of the highest burn levels for an oil.
Yep.
So avocado oil, I use that on my cast iron skillet all the time. Avocado oil, it's instead of that, if you buy something that's called a butter spray, I would suggest not buying that.
But George, it has no calories. Come on.
Yeah. Do you know it's no calories for a quarter of a second of a spray, by the way? Can we just talk about that for a hot second? This is totally going off.
That's just
I'm
like
going off.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Is that what's that going to do to you?
Nothing.
It's not like, come on, give me a break. If it says canola oil, just leave it on the shelf. Don't even give it a second thought. It's like that girl at the club where she looks really pretty, but you know that if you talk to her, she's just going to destroy your soul. She's bad news. You do not want to go there. So just leave the canola oil at the bar and just don't even touch her. But go for avocado. I get avocado spray oil from Aldi's. All it is avocado oil. That's it. That's all it's in there, and it's spray. It's a spray. I just put it on there. Walnuts, chia seeds. I actually eat chai and flax seeds in my yogurt just for some healthy omegas. And if you want to try a fish oil supplement, go for it. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. So if you wanted to try that, you can. And omega-3 enriched eggs. I would encourage pasture raised eggs. Like, I am very, very fortunate, Jay, to live in a community where everyone and their mother has chickens. So I can get brown farm eggs I can get like a dozen of them for like $4.
That's awesome.
I'm very blessed. There's a guy at my church that does that, and he literally brings like 12 dozen eggs with him at church, and he just passes them around, and he just asks for like $5 or $4. So I tell him that he's my dealer. Shout out to Bill, my egg dealer at church. Just some practical diet advice, guys. Try to eat some fatty fish. Go for those natural oils. Get some walnuts, some chia seeds, some flaxseed, healthy omegas there. Try fish oil supplement, and guys, try to get those rich golden deep golden yolk eggs.
Yeah, those pasture raised would be the best you can get. That's good. And it's interesting, George, we have a problem in our country because we are consuming our ratio. If we're supposed to be ideally omega-6 omega-3 ratio 4-to-1 or even 1-to-1, we are at a 10-to-1 in our country or more.
We are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know why disease is on the rise. This inflammation response from the body. This is what happens when you overconsume your omega-6 fatty acids. Okay. So why that's important to understand is if you want to decrease or minimize your risk of disease, then you would want to go for those more omega-3s to make sure you're consuming those in a good way.
And you're going to find that in natural foods, man. You're going to find that in more natural foods. Yeah. Look, if God put it in the ground, put it on a tree, or it walks on the land, it's food for you. Like, it's good stuff. Like, go after it. If you want to have something wrapped in plastic, I would have that maybe every other day, maybe. But
just gotta be careful
you
with
know,
it. Yeah.
it's just the whole natural foods. It's going to make you full. It has those complex vitamins and nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients, those omegas, all of it. It's just going to be so much better for you. Fruit has fiber. You want that. I mean, it's just, God's has his egg. I call eggs God's multivitamin. I mean, it has so many things in there for you. It's just so much of a better option for you to go more whole foods, because then you're not missing it. You're not missing stuff.
Right. No, it's good. And let's not fall into the fear factor, the fear mongering of, oh my gosh, don't touch an egg, don't touch this. I mean, if we can just go natural, of course, again, if you have a genetic predisposition of some sort that has some issues, then you probably would want to be more under your doctor's care. Just be careful, but you could still probably have a moderate amount of these things and be fine. But to the person who is normally healthy, just wants to lose fat and get healthier, who might have a few conditions and issues, we're going to highly encourage you to everything in moderation. Go ahead and have a couple eggs a week. Go ahead and have an egg a day. Go ahead and enjoy what God has put on this earth, because that brings true healing to the body. Try going for protein bars and protein shakes at every meal and processed food. You become what you eat. That's what it comes down to. You become what you eat. So if you want to have a healthy body, use healthy foods, God foods. That includes carbohydrates. That includes proteins. That includes healthy fats. That includes, yes, cholesterol. But really, it is going to be okay. Ansel Keys, I'm sorry. I don't agree with everything you did, what you come up with. You didn't pass my test. Science is winning every single day and finding that hypothesis is basically becoming debunked over the course of time. So that being said, George, we wanted to bring this episode tonight to y'all just to educate you and equip you. We love to geek out on things sometimes. This isn't our normal discussion time. This isn't really how we roll all the time. But we want to show you that we can do this stuff, and we are able to geek out with you and give you the information needed for a successful life, okay, for a healthy lifestyle. We'll be back a couple weeks, and we'll talk more about normal day-to-day things that we all struggle with, and we'll have some fun with some more guests, but really it's good.
And here's the deal. When we talk to you guys about the day-to-day, this is in our minds. All the stuff we talked about, we wanted to give you a sneak peek into the inner recesses of our brains. The inner workings of my mind are an enigma. And yes, I did just drop a SpongeBob quote. Shout out to Eric Carlson, SpongeBob quote.
Oh my gosh.
But if you are if you're hearing us talk about practical application all the time, practical this, practical that, eat this, do that, it's because we are thinking about these things. These things are in our minds when we are telling you those practicalities, right? Everybody know. So what we talked about tonight is like going out in public and making sure you're wearing your underwear. Everyone knows that you're wearing it, but not everyone needs to see it. You know what I mean? So like we're always wearing our underwear, but you don't always necessarily see it. And we just wanted to let you guys know, just like Justin said tonight, we do know what we're talking about. We know what we're doing. We have a good head on our shoulders, and especially at least about tonight, we got sciencey, we got technical, but we wanted you guys to know that we are here to help you, and we're not just blowing smoke. We know what we're doing. Cholesterol isn't the problem, balance is the solution, and we hope you walk away with clarity. Cholesterol is complex, but it is not your enemy, and make sure you keep fighting the good fight, guys, because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
I love it. And you get more information like this on the 600 Pounds Down community, or in the 600 Pound Down community on Facebook. If you guys have Facebook, just search it. It's in the show notes. Go there, join it. We'd love to have you part of the group, part of the movement. We are nearly at 1,000 people, which is fantastic. We've grown a lot over the past 2 months, George. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. Yeah, lots of good stuff. And you'll hear more stuff like this. You'll see some stuff dropped on there that's going to encourage you and inspire you. More education, it's good. So hopefully y'all can check that out, join it. Definitely go on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts and YouTube, and just subscribe and listen, share, please, with your friends. And also go ahead and rate us a 5. We'd love to have that way. That's right. 5. That's 5. And that way it helps us go. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Helps us go up a little bit in the ranks. And then of course helps other people find us easier. But George, any farewell to our listeners tonight?
When you guys are going through your health journey, you're going to get bombarded with information. We want to let you know that 600 Pounds Down isn't just here to give you information. We're here for you. And we're here to be with you, to walk beside you, to help you grow, to help you learn, and help you change. And we believe you can do that.
I love it. All right. Thank you, Coach George. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time, George. What's it called?
600 Pounds Down podcast.
See you next time.